Hello, welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at Chesnaught in the Open Great League. This Pokemon is kinda underrated, to be fair. Like, there are so many water types currently around and so many LilyNiRiain that this thing is actually so great to use right now. We're going to have a team here that is going to have some weaknesses as well. It's a little bit tricky to build a team right now around grass type Pokemon. I'm gonna tell you right now as well why this is the case, but otherwise here we're going to just have the Feraligatr as our main Say-Swap, which is going to have access to the move Crunch just to get all potential Lantern, which is also going to be great for our Pokemon in the back, which is going to be a Lantern, but not with the usual moveset. We're running Water Gun, and I have to say, Water Gun Lantern was most likely my favorite Pokemon of this team. Like, it was so good. Like, all Pokemon were actually really good for this team. Like, definitely would recommend you to try this team out here. But there is going to be, of course, one glaring weakness of this team here, which is going to be those Dragon-type Pokemon. Dragon-type Pokemon are very tricky to deal with. You're going to have a lead that's going to be Grass-type against Broguiere. You can still get an easy shield with a superpower, then swap out into your Feraligatr, outspeed them there, and kind of knock them out in this matchup as well. So, like, you're going to be actually kind of okay against Broguiere, which is the most common dragon, so it's not that bad. While we are able to catch a Dig here, which is going to be insanely important as well. But here, first battle, by the way, we were still running Smackdown from a video that I did, like, I don't know, ages ago, and I did not realize that, so that's kind of hilarious, but doesn't really matter, it does not. We can still go for a Surf here, and we should be able to farm on the opponent in time with my Water Gun, and so we can win the first game. Now we're not going to run Smackdown anymore, even though it would be super effective against the opponent. We want to swap out anyway, as we're going to be a little bit weak against the Ninetales here as well. But it's going to be fine. The opponent swaps into the LilyNiRiain, and with this, they give up quite a lot of, yeah, I don't know, health on this LilyNiRiain, because we can outspeed them to the next charge move. And what I have to say as well for this one, while we're weak to Dragon-type Pokemon, I did not really encounter a lot of them, which most likely also kind of showcases why I had so much success with it. There was like one Dragon-type Pokemon I encountered for sure, which is going to be, I think, in here. I just cut out like the last battles of this team. I did not really look through the footage itself. So, yeah, definitely there's going to be one Dragon-type Pokemon that we encounter as well, which you're going to see later on. But I encountered also one Altaria, which I did not record because my phone just bugged. Like, there's a bug with my phone that I have right now that sometimes recording just doesn't work, and you just have to restart the phone and then it's kind of fixed. But yeah, it was against one Altaria. I just forfeited the match immediately. Don't know if I still would have been able to come back from it, but this was the lead that I saw. So kind of interesting that, of course, at this point my phone did not record the battle, but it is what it is. But yeah, otherwise, this team was really great for me. And the cool thing about the lead of Chesnaught is honestly that a lot of times you're gonna bait out a Pokemon that is weak to Chesnaught with your Say-Swap of Feraligatr. You can farm them down, end up with a ton of energy, and just force so many shields. Like, honestly, you were able to force so many shields. Here we will be able to just win as the opponent decides to forfeit, and we can move on to the next opponent. Another LilyNiRiain against us. So here you kind of want to wait until they throw or until they swap out. Here they decide to throw basically immediately, which is kind of great for us. And they swap out now into their Annihilate, allowing us to get a Frenzy off. Frenzy is going to do a ton of damage, but they decide to use a shield anyway. And so we can align our Feraligatr against the opponent. We use a shield here. It's not going to knock us out, of course, it's just going to be a Night Slash, but it's still kind of safe for us at least to go for a shield, because like this we can align ourselves, and I want to kind of align myself, is I rather have the LilyNiRiain against my lead than against my what's called Lantern in the back. Here we see the Night Slash coming through. Again, we can overfarm by a little bit. We're gonna be kind of low, which can be a little bit tricky, as our lead is already a little bit lower as well at this point. But we can still reach another charge move here, and maybe I make a mistake. I'm not too sure about it. I decide to swap out here already, and they're going to have a Gligar in the back. I think this might be a mistake from me, which maybe can be also a little bit costly here as well. But we do a ton of damage against them, so that's not really going to be a problem. I thought the entire time at this point that I still have a shield left, but I don't have a shield left, and so my Lantern is going to get hit by a Dig with like 1 HP from the opponent. So that's not going to be great. And we're also going to be now in range for one charge move from the opponent's LilyNiRiain. And so, yeah, this did not really work out as well for us. If I knew that I didn't have a shield, this would have maybe been a little bit differently. But then again, like, I don't think they would have thrown against my Feraligatr either. But yeah, we're going to still sadly lose this game here. I think there was ways of winning this game. I played a little bit smarter, but it is what it is here. I didn't want to give them extra energy, which at the end of the day cost me the game. But yeah, it's an interesting play for me to go for a Water Gun on the Lantern, of course, but I was kind of sure that I'm going to be able to beat other lanterns anyway with the team that I have here, as we have a Chesnaught that should be able to bait them out. And also we are going to have Slow, of course, our lead, which is super great against the lantern. But Watergun Lantern helps us out kind of easily against like something like a Gligar. Against Gligar, it was like so nice to play because she just do super effective damage instead of resisted damage. And so I enjoyed this one quite a bit. It was really a solid Pokemon to use right now. Like everybody is running Spark, but I feel like Watergun has a lot of play right now as well. But here we're going to encounter a Wigglytuff, which is also a core breaker for the team, but we can still go into our Lantern. We're just going to try to farm them all the way down with our fast move already. They're forced to go for Disarming Voice as the other move would be resisted. And so we can go for the full farm down. We have a ton of energy. In comes the opponents. Let's see. It is going to be... The opponents are Bastion. I go up to 2 serves just to have them already stored, and they swap out into the Annihilate, allowing me to go for a CMP type Frenzy Plant, and I hopefully going to be able to get to my next charge move in time as well against the opponent's Bastion. But I actually made a little bit of a mistake here. I should have stopped out earlier against the Bastion because I gave them too much energy against the Lantern that they can actually outspeed me here. Go for a Flamethrower, but again, we have Water Gun on Lantern, and this is going to change the matchup a little bit here, as now we can easily knock them out in like 3 serves, I would imagine. But we have to hope that we can still get to the next serve in time. It's going to be a very close one. Our HP is kind of low, but we can still reach the charge move, and so the opponent is going to get knocked out here. Lantern is going to be the MVP, and we can move on to the next opponent. Chesnaught against Charjabug. This battle, I still remember this battle. Here, it's actually going to be better than you expect for yourself. Like, you might think, oh yeah, Charjabug going to completely destroy the entire team. It is tough, but as you can see here already, we do half of the opponent's health with just like 1 charge move of us, which is kind of great, even though it's resisted. And, yeah, I most likely did misplay the battle a little bit, just a little bit, to be fair. Here, the opponent can go for an Icy Wind, which is totally fine for me. I can go for the bait here with the Surf, but I have to hope that I can still reach another Thunderbolt against the opponent, which we are not going to be able to do by just like 1 HP. If we would have survived by like 1 more fast move, we would have been fine. I'm going to try to basically soak up some energy here on my Feraligatr. It's going to be resisted, and I make another mistake here by catching an Icy Wind, which is going to now drop my attack onto my own, Feraligatr, onto my own Chesnaught. But cool thing here is that the opponent swapped out into their Sand Sledge, allowing me to go for a Super Power, knock them out immediately, which is going to be very important. And in comes now from the opponent again that Charjabug. We are debuffed though at this time, like attack debuffed plus defense debuffed, which is a little bit tricky for us. And so I decided to go for the Super Power, and I gave them a free fast move here. And this free fast move is actually going to be very, very difficult for us because we could have got an extra free fast move in ourselves. And so they go for the Exeter, and we're gonna see here, I can try to farm them down. They're gonna go into the Poliwrath. We are going to be able to go for 2 Hydro Cannons, but they are going to be able to not survive the next one. Maybe I could have went for 1 last fast move here as well, but that's going to knock them out. And we are just 1 fast move away. This was the extra wine but that cost me kind of the game there, which I lost, which is kind of sad, but maybe we can do it better against the next Charjabug. I guess you would have a better matchup here if you would run Smackdown on it, but again, like Smackdown is in general a little bit worse. But we see here again that we can just 2-shot them with the Frenzy Plant, which is kind of nice for us. They are doing resisted fast move damage as well. Their charge moves are neutral though, which is not the case for us, but we're still going to do more damage as Frenzy Plant is a better move compared to Exeter. But they're going to outspeed me usually, but I can still go for a Super Power, and I get them low enough already at this point that I'm kind of happy with it. The opponent lets this move go through anyway, and I have a ton of energy stored on my Chesnaught. They swap out into the Azumarill against us, which can be a little bit of a trickier one as well, but again, it's kind of okay for me. I can just go ahead and go for some Hydro Cannons again against the opponent. This is going to do some nice damage, kind of maybe forces some shields eventually. Okay, here not really, but I can just go ahead and farm up extra onto my own Chesnaught. I don't really want to go into my Lantern because Lantern is not running Spark, but Chesnaught going to have a great matchup here. I can overfarm up to basically 2 Frenzy Plants to try to get another shield maybe from them. Later on, they decide to let this move go through. It's only going to be the Annihilate. I can get the shield here. And now it comes down to if Lantern can win this game. Does Water Gun help us in this matchup? I doubt it. Like, unless we're going to put them into farm down range, we are not going to really have a great time here. I'm calling the Shadow Ball, which was a great call from me, and I just have to hope that I can outspeed them to the next charge move. They go for a charge move here. It's going to be the Shadow Ball again, but as you can see, we do a ton of damage with our fast move alone. I mostly should have not thrown this charge move here, because I don't get to another one with my Chesnaught anyway. But they survive with like a few HP, and like if I didn't go for my own charge move, I would have been in a better place. But we can still farm them down here and win the game. Next opponent, a lone Sandslash in the lead. This is going to be okay. What you want to do is you want to stay in and swap onto the Ice Punch, because they're forced to go for an Ice Punch straight away, or they swap out themselves, because otherwise they would get hit by a superpower. We're going to have a kind of easy play here, and the opponent swaps into a Mantine as well. Here's the thing, if you get the debuff here, this might be actually a very good matchup for you. We don't get the debuff, and this is actually important that you get the debuff. Here, of course, 30% chance is kind of a little bit annoying, but if you would have got the debuff, the Lantern would have been able to just farm them down with Water Gun, and would get a ton of energy. Like this, we're sadly going to be forced to go for a charge move eventually, because before we farm them down, they can swap out like basically 20 times already. And if they swap out, we're going to have a problem, because we want to get rid of the Mantine for our lead. And so I farm up to 2 serfs basically, try to knock them out with one of them, and hopefully we still have a chance here in this battle. I'm not too sure about it. They're gonna go into the Sandslash. I go for the Thunderbolt, trying to force the shield from the opponent already, as this would do a ton of damage. They decide to use a shield. I can force another shield with the next superpower coming in. And so we're in a very decent spot here, as the opponent is going to be 2 shields down now. We have to hope there's something in the back that we can deal with. It's going to be the Mandibus. The Mandibus is coming in here. It is going to be a tough matchup for us to still win. I doubt that there's a chance for us, I think, at this point. But we never know. Aerial Ace coming through. We still have at least another shield here to try to shield up another Aerial Ace. As we can take a look on the right side here, the switch took after the Aerial Ace is barely not up, and so I'm forced to go for another one. They would have outsped me otherwise. This is basically doing no damage as we're double debuffed. The clock is ticking down here, which is a little bit annoying, because actually the opponent got more time from their own switch clock, which is really bad for us, which is, I don't know if they kind of were trying to force it or whatever, but we have to hope that we can still reach the Thunderbolt in time, and we can. And this is so important, because we actually do win CMP tie with a Chesnaught against the Sandslash. I looked it up before this battle already, and this is going to be it. This is going to be the knockout superpower, double super effective, goodbye, and we can move on to the second to last game for today. What do you do against Cresselia? Tricky one. Honestly, I'm not too sure if this was actually the correct play that I did here either. You can actually stay in with your Chesnaught, go for a friendly, and then swap out if you want to do this, because you're going to outspeed them before they can go for their Moonblast by like one fast move. But here, we decided to swap out immediately into our Feraligatr, do some damage against them there, use one shield, because Grass Knot, super effective, you don't really want this. But what you see as well is that the opponent is going to go for a charge move, and we can still see CMP tie against them. If they use a shield, I farm them down with my own Chesnaught, and if they don't use a shield here, they use the shield or whatever, I would be able to knock them out. But as I use the shield, I can just get a ton of energy here on my Chesnaught, and I think this is going to be great for the end game. As we can see now what they have in the back, it's going to be a Skarmory, and I can swap out immediately. And as you get some extra energy here against the Skarmory already, this is going to allow us to outspeed the opponent's Cresselia. We know that because of the Water Gun damage as well, which is adding up a little bit faster here, we should be able to put them into range where, of course, after the charge move here already, that is going to be in fast move down range, and the opponent decides to forfeit anyway, as the Skarmory would have had no chance. Final battle. We're going to have a Dragon-type Pokemon here. So, at least you see this one. I knew this because of like the last game that was still in. Crunch is coming through against the opponent's Lantern here. We basically lose already our best answer by swapping out into the Feraligatr. Why did I do this? I don't know. Honestly, that's kind of the way that I wanted to talk about as well. Chesnaught is so great at just taking advantage of whatever you bait in with the Feraligatr. And here we see the Lantern baiting in. Totally fine. Look at the energy that I got. And this is the thing as well, most Dragon-type Pokemon are fairly squishy, and so here this charge move is going to do still quite a decent chunk. I can go for another Frenzy Plant, and we kinda put them into a lower range if they would let this move go through, but they decide to use a shield and they swap out into the Carbink. For the Carbink, this is still the better matchup, but again, we are running the Awkward here. I want to say it's going to be the Water Gun, of course, as a fast move, which is going to be better than Sparky as we do super effective damage, and so 2 serves going to be enough instead of 3 serves, and this is going to be kinda crucial, as now we can overfarm by quite a bit. I can try to go up to another serve against the opponent's Dragon type of Giratina, Let's take a look if we can get there. We can get there. And let's see if they're going to use a shield. Hopefully they use a shield. They should not use a shield. They decide to use a shield, which is great for us. And so we still have 2 shields left on our own. And so 1 Frenzy Plant is going to be enough to knock them out from this range, which is absolutely wild. And so we can move on here and say thanks for watching this video. Honestly, like, Chesnaught was so much fun to play in the current meta. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.